Okay. Oh, shows them live. Oh, got a YouTube live thing. Let's see how all this works. Excellent connection. Hey, there I am. Okay. Mic shows something. Let's get an air mix going. Oh, forgot that. Come on. All right, let's shift gears. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're looking into an air mix here. Anything on the thing? All right, so we're in the process of picking the air mix for tonight. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video. Okay. Sound on?
that we share. I wish it could last forever. Still knowing that love is still here. Home is where the heart, oh yeah, yes it is. There's no place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be. Sharing love and laughter. Sharing love and laughter. Joy is the home is where the heart. There's no place like home. There's no place I'd rather be.
and the other one down. I'll just have that playing in the background. All right. Okay. I'm watching myself in two different monitors. Okay. There's the machine that does the streaming, the virtual machine, the OBS studio, and then there's the YouTube. I was going to call it Yoo-hoo, the YouTube, and that excuse me, that's on the browser, and so there's a time delay. So I'm looking at myself from the past, the now, somewhat now, and then in the past, and so it's a little trippy. All right, so basically we're talking about. Oh, I gotta find the gosh darn thing. We're talking about amplitude. And that's what the intention of the live stream was about. I just did a video on amplitude not that long ago, and it gained a lot of questions, and so rightly so. So I wanted to take this as an opportunity to address questions, anything that people may have on amplitude, and so there's looks like there's 5 people here, and so this is the chat, but I have a text that I'm looking for, and it was from yesterday. The notes on amplitude, and so I wanted to refer to that. And so I have a bunch of different folders all over the place. I'm generally organized, but there's a number of different places where things could potentially be, and I don't always make a copy in all the right places. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking for yesterday's. Wait, hold on. I have an idea.
All I need is love. Yes,
there we go.
all I need is love.
Fumbling
Gotta
through
believe it. All I need is love. I'm tired of fake it. All I need is love.
Yeah, because all I need is love.
All I need is love.
I get it from my family. Thank you all for being here. This is a live stream. I can't forget that. I'm running behind. So if I had Alex with me, he would be being my musical pause.
You say you're broken into, and I say I don't think it is true. Claim that my reason was you.
So, all right. So shall I assume that the 5 of you who are here have seen the video? I don't know. Yesterday's video. But I had the text, and I wanted to address. Actually, one of I should find it. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. All right, oh, here it is. All right, so we're on track. Hello. All right. And turn it down the studio. All right. So, okay. So, the one of my subs, viewer, had posted this on the yesterday's video, and so basically All right, there we go. All right. So, basically, it was a comment from one of my uh, subs, one of the Wages World family who came over and said hi and stuck around to, see some of the videos. And the last one about the Amplitude drew a lot of questions. And I basically told her that, it's way too much to, um, like it's kind of overwhelming to have to what did I tell her? Basically, like there's a lot to that, and I have to, kind of, it's going to take me a little bit of time to think about it, um, and so so in the morning when I woke up, I had kind of given it some thought at that point, what what I wanted to say, and I had some of the answers kind of revealed to me in the morning, which was nice as I was waking up doing my meditations to the to source. So this is MJ Mama J Wright, and this was 18 hours ago. And she basically says, "Oh wow, I need to take some notes." Oh, whatever. Well, let me do that. Well, let me take. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I need to take. I need to watch again, take notes, and remember my most basic wave, quote unquote, science stuff from high school. And that would be a good idea for me to remember to too, as well, to fresh up on my doohickey in that area as well. So she says, my doohickey. Oh, come on. All right. So the sun goes. I'm just gonna. She says, so the sun goes fart, quote unquote, and an invisible, quote unquote, plasma glob hits the earth, dot, dot, dot. The initial strike, quote unquote, is instant, question mark. It enters the uppermost atmosphere, dot, 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 hits molecules and junk, cruises into lower atmosphere, and splashes, quote unquote, into the earth, dot, dot, dot. Up to this point, dot, 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 is it measurable, question mark? Or is it measured once the vertical changes to horizontal, question mark? The Schumann part is what happens after, quote unquote, I'm sorry, pardon me, the initial splash, question mark. Do I understand any of this so far, question mark? Sorry, Mama has to take this in baby steps until I find my old science books. Smiley face, looks like. All right. I'm just going to read this through once, and then I'll give my feedback on it. Okay. And to dumb it down even more, what is the plasma made, quote unquote, made of? Sun is burning ball o hydrogen, question mark. It pops, quote unquote, pops off or farts in parentheses, dot dot dot. And what, capital what, is hurtling towards us, question mark. And energy, question mark. It should be energy, I'm sure. What is solar energy, question mark. I may be overthinking this, period. Or that should be a stop, I guess. What I want to know. Oh, but I'm sorry. But I want to know. Exclamation point. I'm with you. I agree. A photon is just another atom with its electron in a higher excited orbit, and we see the energy release as light when the electron jumps back to its normal orbit. Dot dot dot. Right? Question mark. Or am I remembering this wrong? Question mark. Okay, so that's just me transliterating this the comment from one of my very wonderful viewers, subs, the general public, you all, Wages World, Mark Pyers, VertArbusto family. Um, I am on Wages, banner that goes in front of his thing. So, I'm part of the family. And you can see on my, hold on, let me move this. As you can see on my, there you go. I get a bunch of Mark Pyers in my recently watched videos. So and wages. There's wages on the top. The family. Oh, and Fab Rats and Matt's off-road recovery. All part of the family. Um, and anyway, and all right. So I just read that once through. We can all, if you're following along, so we all are, familiar with what she says, what the post is. All right. So I have had a pardon me, I'm sorry, it's late for me. Spent all day shoveling snow and assaulting we had a lot of snow, like 6, 7, maybe 8 inches in some places, and I work for a woman who manages multiple properties. We're talking about like 10, 11 units. And so there's biking. It's not that much, but tenths, tenths of. But I have a shovel, and a snow shovel, and a spade, a metal steel spade, for breaking up. It's like an ice pick for the shovel. I mean, for the snow drifts, and a brush, for the salt, and so there's my toolkit for doing the snow for the boss. Um, and and the bags of salt are 40 pounds each. And so we have extra bags downstairs, bring them up, upstairs. And, we got to make sure that there's one bag at the front and then back. Oh, yeah. And they're 40 pounds each. And so I got to weigh them, how much is in each. All right, about 20 pounds is half a bag, 10 pounds is, a quarter of a bag roughly, and so I got to write that out, and I still haven't given the boss the report on it. So I'm doing this live stream instead of I'm playing the hooky by doing this live stream, just so you know. You're all complicit in my not working, just so you know. All right. Oh, chat, there's people here. Oh, Bradley, hi Bradley. Can't hear music too loud. Oh, okay, yeah. I think you could probably hear me now. Venmo. Oh, who is that? Oh, Trish. Wow, holy crap! There's a bunch of people here. Um, Trish. I do. Oh, share. Oh, yeah. I have that somewhere. Hold on. I'm gonna post that in the link. Because you asked. Yes, I do actually. Hold please. System processing. Wait. All right. I'm going to make it. What have we got in here? While I'm finding the link, let me check. There we go. I'll turn the music down somewhat. I'm looking kind of silly at the monitor. I am finding the link for all that fun stuff. Okay. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it in the link here somewhere, and the I love technology. It's wonderful, and it's also complicated, and I can get it to work in any number of different ways. with enough of this, electronics, but it's like, all right, well, there's a hierarchy of, like different browsers here. I have three different browsers working at any time. And so I have one on Brave, one on Foxfire. Sorry about that. Firefox, whatever the heck it is. And so, oh, there we go. Okay. So in my, in the link, I'm sorry, the link for that is in my description already. So I don't have to cut and paste that. All right. So, and then there's the live chat from you guys over on the website. Wow. It's like me seeing me. All right. So, yes. So, I'm picking myself back up in the chat. All right. So, okay. So, all right. And I just want to show you this. So, this is going out live. So, I have this 2 screens. I just want going to show you this because we have time here. So, this is like I have my primary computer here, right? That's my $250 unit. And then I have, you can't even really see it well. All right. Sorry about that. So that's a sound card. That's a sound card I had got from Amazon. And then there's all these wires over here. I'm just doing this really quick. There we go. Okay. There's the HDMI. All right. And so then I have over here, there's this other monitor, keyboard. There's the little speakers there right next to it. There's a Yamaha. Come on. Wrong thing. There you go. All right. So, and this wasn't rehearsed. I'm just doing this on the fly. So and this works. There we go. And there's a switch on this. Whatever. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So, that's the studio. So I have a lot of fun doing this, just so you know. The universe has blessed me. And so, just a few of you who are technically inclined. Hold on a sec. Okay, I think I'm better now. All right. So, thank you for sticking with me here. All right. So, I have the, I don't know. I, as a viewer on my end, I kind of enjoy seeing, like when Wade just talks about, his experience with, like the software, and it's like, oh, hey, I can do that. Like here's my laptop. I want to have a program where I can show you the studio, like one good program where you can see it, and kind of explain how some of the software works, so you yourself can kind of do a live stream program. I have a old computer. It's the same basic version of this HP that I gave to Alex. Not that long ago. It's got a cracked screen, but you get another monitor for it, you're good to go. And so, I told him I'd help him set up his studio so that he can do live stream and all that. So, if you yourself might not have thought of it, but if someone shows you, and I had gone to Savers, I got the $3.99 webcam, Ubisoft webcam that just natively plugs into it and just recognizes it on this, just without even having blinked an eye, and just, oh my God, wow, holy fuck, holy F-bomb. So, the universe blessed me because I set my conscious stated intention toward that goal of setting up a studio, and a person like, for example, from what I understand, Mark Pyers, he had gone out to wherever and he, purchased it all at one time and as a one, with like, but he records and so that's his thing. But me, I've had audio video equipment, I've done video editing. One of the first things I did, this is my experience. I haven't actually talked about this, but for, those of you who are interested, I'll just tell you my the experience coming into this. Uh the Schumann resonances coming into this, there's a learning curve that you really got to, wrap your head around. And I forget about my previous experience working in audio video, fixing computers, learning JavaScript, which is murder. I'd rather gouge my eyes out or poke myself in the eye with a sharp stick than do JavaScript again or any of that programming, but whatever, I did it. Um, it was part of the course, the networking course I took. I much preferred the hardware section of that, of taking everything out, and so there's an inherent knowledge of, electronics and EMF and that stuff you learn, and static discharge, so you don't mess up the microvolt, operating components in there. And I went to school in New London, Connecticut, to be an engineer, and I took, electrical engineering, but I wanted to do an audio engineering. Pardon me, sorry about that. And one of the things I learned is how to make speaker boxes. I made a few of them, and I wanted to do speaker installation, car audio kind of car, installation. And I helped kids put in theirs. I helped them take them out. I had a side project of selling. Like I'd go to the local junkyard, and I'd find some nice stereos in the people left with the cars, and I'd pull them out, and I'd sell them to my friends who had cars and stuff, and so I made a decent amount of money from that. So I have long I have did I when I had my radio station, I had interviews with studio engineers who built you know not only antenna, the broadcasting systems, they did the repeaters, they worked on the antenna, they worked in broadcast. They explained to me how the Faraday cages in the studio worked. We're talking about hours of recorded interviews with these, engineers that put the professional radio stations together, me visiting them at their station, in Philadelphia. I worked locally in Connecticut at Waterford at the Eugene O'Neill Theater with Mr. Stidfold. He was the technical. I'm pretty sure he was the technical director there, something equivalent to that. For the house, and so there was a lot of well-known talent that came in through there. I helped them set up the light system uh, in there. They wanted to upgrade their, the modern PA house system so they could actually record and do audio video recording. And so the day that Jim Stidfold wanted to do that, we went over to Sonalist in Waterford. They showed us their studio, and they told us all about where they had, I forget what place in Europe, they copied, or no, it wasn't Europe. It was, I think, out in the West Coast. I forget where, but they had copied a studio, well-known studio, recording studio, like board by board. So he was telling me that. But what really impressed me is they were doing the Perfect Storm soundtrack that day, working on it, before it went into final production, and so they had the movie lined up. This was, I don't know, like a year before it first came out in the studios, I think, maybe. Perfect Storm. It had Danny Warhol, a fairly well-known cast about a fishing boat that got caught up in a storm, and it was the perfect storm. Uh, and so they had the same basic program. Like they had a bunch of, well, it was a program that specialized, to their software, but it's very similar to a lot of the audio video, like Premiere, Adobe Premiere. They had the huge soundtrack. The camera work was up there on the screen, and so you have like 32 lines of different, like sections, like one second of breaking board, uh, you know, 3.2 seconds of, creaking, screws popping. um, like 6.5 seconds of breaking glass. Like, and then bubbles in there for, a second here. Like, oh my God, this is like painting a picture with audio, with sound. I'm like, oh my fucking God, I want to do that. And so, like, this is not that, but oh, it's that enough. It's close enough to that. I got my stuff going on. Mark Pyers has his studio. He's been spending years doing his thing. And, at 52, I've been spending years doing mine, working the studio, different studios. Uh, so, the point being, that's what my um, experience is doing this for the 6 of you, thank you, who are here. Trish, Diane, Mark. Oh, Mark was here. All right. Well, you're getting a thanks anyway. Bradley, Phi Harmonics, Wendy B. That looks like six folks of you who have commented, and me at 7. Uh, ugh. Ah, ugh. Okay, so, all right, 6 of you. So, I said, tell Wages World that I'm doing a show. Bradley, you are the best salesman ever. If anyone, what's his name? Uh, Mark Pyers had talked about a mod should be someone that builds up the show. That is you, Bradley. Most definitely, you are the best salesperson for any not a salesperson. You are somewhat of a promoter, somewhat of an attractor. We talk about the positive and negative, um, and not just from like, oh, you're a negative person, but the polarity of an attraction versus a push, which is a positive. And so that's one of the things that Wages is doing a live show now. We're gonna have to check this out. I'm gonna look at my subs list. We're gonna, because if he is, will uh no, he's not showing anything live, but Mark Pyers is. I'm gonna send him a note to tell everyone to come and see me. Thank you all for being here. All right. So I have a lot of technology going on, and I'm glad to share it with you. I do, a show about the Schumann resonances, and it's very important that I get the message out to people who are interested in this. That I'm open to discussion on this. I want to talk to people about this. I know this is coming up with a volume here. I want to talk to people about this, and it's very important that we get some dialogue, because I know what I know in a certain way, but it's not until I have an ongoing discussion with people that I really can kind of explain it in a good, solid way through words. I have pictures. I have a lot of pictures that I can offer, but um I can't get those conveyed to you in the same way that I can uh I can with yeah, I did have technical difficulties. It was the streaming. I had to that's the thing about technology and when it's all working. It's like your Mercedes. When it's all working, it's lovely. But when the compressor, or the alternator goes, it's like, oh, fuck this. Um you know, it takes a bit of, doing, but it didn't cost money in this case, but yeah. It's the streaming rate matching up with the the program itself, the OBS, going through YouTube, streaming out through the antenna here, and then onto wherever. So there's a few moving parts to getting this all to work properly, which, if you can put it on the intuitive setting, you're good. And so I had to find the intuitive, make it work setting, and then I was good. So it shows me largely that it's excellent, showing excellent condition now on my monitoring here. Uh, Error. Okay, so now it's not receiving enough data. All right. That's why the music is good, because I think it keeps the stream moving at a good rate, whatever. But so a little buffering, whatever. It's still going through. Um, Looks like Wages just turned it off. Yeah, I see that. I wish he could have. See, I don't know when he's on all the time, but when he has been, I've gone over there, told him to put a shout out to me, but he does. He runs the banner. He runs the banner under his thing. Of my show. So I'm kind of honored. Yeah, exactly. It's fine, and then it kind of buffers, and I think that has to do on my end with, yeah, it stops for a little bit and then it goes back in. I think what that is I'm watching the thing cut out. That's probably why I'm pretty sure it's a problem with upstairs on their end. Oh, Wages. All right. I'm going to go over and tell him to give me a shout out. And oh, he is on. Oh, good. All right. So I'm going to join the chat over there. Tell him that I'm doing a stream over here. And let's see what I got. Anything for music? Because you are all so wonderful and kind. Let me find something. Oh, you know what? Here's one that says, oh, this is one of my favorites. All right. That's working there. That's working there. Turn it down a little bit. Just so we have some background music. All right. Hopefully this is working as such on your end. On my little meter here, it shows I'm talking much louder than the music, so hopefully it's just the background there. All right. There we go. All right. So I'm sending Wages a note that I'm streaming. me put up something educational. Oh, you know what? This. I don't think I've really shared this with you much. This is, all right, this is one of the ways that the Schumann resonances, if I can show you here. There we go. All right, so in a lot of these that I get, these scientific journals, they come from places that you can access as well. I want you to know that. All right. So I'm watching you on the phone at wages. Yeah, I love that. Yes. I have yeah, Darlene. That's what I have on my computer. I have a couple screens and I have a couple different browsers so that I can tune into like my show and monitor it from how like you would see it, like how if I was watching it, how you'd see it. And then and then how I see it through the OBS software of what that looks like, you know, what it should be going out. And so I have to kind of monitor both. And theoretically, I have a way to test what, you know, the monitor of what's going out as, you know, again, as if I was watching it on your end. So it's a quality kind of assurance thing. And so that's one of the ways kind of, and as well with the notes, the Post-it note here. You know, I want to make sure to tune in to what everyone's saying, that, you know, you're you know, you're following along and there's no problems, you can hear everything. And hold on. Gotta make sure that I have something on the screen that you can see. Oh my god. All right. So I can dial this in. Oh no, not at all. Actually, I think I have this in a PDF form. I have to dig it up. All right, so Icobumba. I can't make it bigger really here for you to see. Actually, maybe I can. All right. All right, so that's a full screen, so you can kind of see that. Now you can. I will have to post a link. And this actually looks like a good. When I talk about the amplitude, you know, we're talking about the electric spike from the lightning, you know, the initial kind of discharge from, you know, I'm picturing this in my head, okay, and I want to put it in words because you can't read the picture in my head, even though I'm trying to project it to you. You know, it's kind of a little difficult for that. And so so there's that initial discharge of electricity, and that's what the amplitude is. And so so that is what largely affects your crystals. And I have this thing up on the board, the words, the wordy thing without the pictures. Sorry to have to do that to you. But you know, you can see the title is Piezoelectricity in the Human Pineal Gland. Okay. And I have another document that, oh, you know what? This is actually a somewhat new document that I got from the library, and I am going to actually share this here because I think this is a more fun, maybe. And this is about the piezoelectric piezoelectric effect on... Alright. So I definitely wasn't ready to show this, otherwise I would have had it by now, but it's not where I thought it was. I'm looking for a document right now that I recently got from the library. What they had done was they actually took a picture of it and I transposed it from... Alright, I can't find it. The piezoelectric effect on ololiths. Alright, so that's what I'm looking for, is the piezoelectric effect on ololiths. And what the ololith is it's a bone in your ear, but of the fish. It's of the fish. And so that's what they're talking about, is this guy had done studies on the piezoelectric effect of otoliths. And I'm looking for that document. I saved it. I swear I saved it. It's not coming up on computers are great when they work, and then when they don't, it's like, oh man, why are you doing this to me? So all right, so I'm not going to waste time looking for this. Through this, I do want to... Let's actually, let me see if I can find it. It was PDF. I'm not going to bring you into my computer drama here with that. Let me find it, actually. Hold on, let me make sure that there's music. Yes, good, there's music in the background, so I'm not totally dead air as I'm looking for this, the sad sack of me looking for my my files. There we are. Okay. Bring this over into my the boudoir, so as not to Is that it? No. I think, oh yeah, I think the date, that sounds about right. All right, so, okay, well, hey, all right, so here we go. There's that. Oh. So, this is... Ooh, nice, I'm a winner. There we are. All right. All right. Thank you for sticking with me here. You know, I somewhat know what I'm doing. You know, with all that experience, I'm still like trying to put my studio here together, you know. Bragging about the studio while I still can't find my files. All right. So this is good enough here. All right. So thank you. You know, following along with me, I'm following as I'm stumbling along over my own stuff, I think is, you know, the fun of this. It's like real reality TV. Like, this isn't, I mean, it's scripted. I have a script. There's something I'm supposed to be doing, but this is so live and on the spot here, and it shows. It's like, oh yeah, this is definitely not, you know, like here. I was supposed to be having something else going on. And the Windows, it's a funny thing with the HDMI doing it as a second screen. You know, it really is. And it kind of does that. everything. Fortunately for you, I have an interesting background that's Schumann related. But it's kind of annoying. But it's like, all right, cut. It's like a screen cut. Like on a. Okay, looks like I'm live. I had to restart, and stop the software. So it says this is, all right, I'm still live. It says excellent condition. The graph is still moving. Apparently there's still 7 of you who've watched, average time of anyone watching is 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Out of an hour and 25 minutes, the average people are watching is 3 minutes and 35 seconds. Lovely, I like that. But there's been 7 of you here, so whatever. Don't look at the statistics. I do, but I don't. I know I shouldn't, but I do. So on the screen you should be seeing. This is all right. So as I'm trying to figure out the software program issues, technical between, there's a lot of moving parts getting all this to work. So we will address this, as I can, as technology allows, because it's important. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah, Sterling. There's buffering on my end. There's what's its name there? YouTube is telling me there's errors on on their end of what they're seeing. This is all I have to say is even the best part of doing this maybe is the chat, where we can kind of come to terms with a lot of what's coming on. And I can tell you, I can give you the documentation. Like, that's a lot of what this is I'm trying to provide the documentation for you so you can see for yourself where I get my information from and what, what you can, like, all right, so I did the research. I kind of show the way, I show you where to get it. I've condensed it for you. I have made videos of it. I'm in the chats. I'm in the comments. I talk to people. But the long and short of it is, like, you as a person need to learn how to acclimate these incoming, electromagnetic gravitational frequencies as the Earth's magnetic poles are kind of wandering. It's creating a lot of changes around us, and that's part of what this ascension kind of is. That actually, hold on, I'm proselytizing. Yeah, so part of what is, like, we are facing is this, the magnetic shielding that's been around us is changing, is shifting, it's weakening, and so oh, there I am, and so I'm proselytizing, so I have to be on, on the camera. So it's important that we look at this as the change what we signed up for. This is kind of what my station here, this channel, is about, is to kind of help people to kind of realize that we're doing this. Hello. We're doing this by volunteering. The Earth School is the hardest out of all of them. Out of all anything of all of this, is the most singular, most difficult of all of it. And so, therefore, it's by, you know, um, invitation only. You're requested, you're asked, you got to be, but you have to volunteer. There are souls that are trapped here. That's sort of what it boils down to. And there's many of us who were sent to help free the trapped souls. And one of those things that's kind of trapping people and ensnaring and entangling are these Schumann resonances. And it's not that they're bad or evil, or even that they're helping with the good guys or the positive. It's that they are like the part of the power system of the planet, and they act to like the power lines that hold, not only electricity and gravity and magnetism, but gravity intact at certain frequencies. So your job, should you choose to accept it, is that you need to kind of free yourself from the electric magnetic gravitational strings, the waves of the Schumann resonances. Okay, I'm looking at what it's showing me here on the YouTube site, and it keeps telling me there's an error. Error. All right, so I don't know. I'm at an hour and 31 minutes. I think we've talked a little bit. I haven't really. I follow the chat. There's not really. We're not talking about. Yeah, piezoelectricity, buffering on my phone. The Earth is vibrating hard. That alignment coming up, I tell you, I'm pretty sure that it is got its part, that pair, they're the matched set, husband and wife, Jupiter and Saturn, they're all of the planets kind of have their concubine, Mercury and Venus, Earth. Well, Earth has the asteroid belt, kind of truth be told. But Mars, Earth and Mars, okay. And then you get the two giants, the next two, Jupiter and Saturn, Juno and Juvo, and then you get Neptune and Uranus. And then Pluto is way out there, kind of intermingling with the asteroid belt and the solar system. So it's Pluto is the messenger of the great beyond. So Pluto has a different kind of thing going on. But yeah, so when those two get together, Jupiter and Saturn, there's a lot of it's Saturn is the planet of return. Okay. And we are now in a Pluto return. If you're following along with these things, okay. So Pluto is a return to 250 years. So what happened 250 years ago? Well, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Right? Think about it. That's coming to, that's coming paid, pay me, coming due, right? Your dues for that. The Declaration of Independence, where are we going? Right? So Saturn is coming in for, and it's recently been in retrograde, and there's a lot going on with that. All right. And then, there was, the stellum alignment that happened not too long ago. And then a lot of things had blink, chink, chink, chink. It's recently the ending of the Tzolk'in calendar, the Mayans. We're in a brand new 260-day cycle. A lot of accounts are being cashed in. That's how you have to look at this. And here's another account of what these two are doing. Like it's a grand cycle that's now kind of coming in on a close. All these different calendars are based on the different rotational, doohickey. The cycles of the planets, the rulers. So, yeah, me too, Autumn. I'm Autumn Joy. I am wide awake as well. Because if this, I think, yeah. Good, I'm glad you're here. So everything has a return. Saturn has a 30-year return. Jupiter, I think it's 18 or something. It's not that much, or not as much as Saturn. And so there's a few different points that are important. Just so, hey, while we're on this discussion, it's not at all about the amplitude, but why not we talk about it anyway? So it's one of the important points in the rotation of a planet is it's a conjunction to other planets as well. There's the retrograde, that's where it's the closest approach to another planet, all right? And then you have conjunctions or alignments between, say, like we're having now, Jupiter and Saturn. And then you have an alignment, certain prestigious points in the calendar. And so now it's not just that those two are coming up with an alignment very soon, within hours, basically, right around the corner. It's that it's in 0 degree of Aquarius. Like I have said, there's 8 of you. Thank you. All right. So I have said that the Aquarian age has already started. These things they last thousands of years. It's like a production. This is all theater. Earth is all theater. It's all make believe. It's all, it's all fantasy. It's all make believe. It's imagination. That's what this is here on this planet. So you can imagine all kinds of scenarios, and people do, and then they go to war over them, but whatever. That's beside the point. And so it's this great theater. So there are the great rulers. Like the chess game is a great analogy. There's varying levels. You got to remember, the humans have been the puppets of the gods for years. The gods have been fighting over this planet for millennia. Like the flying the Vimana of the Hindus and Krishna and all the gods have come down here. Have done their time. That's why you have so many different gods that are because there's so many different deities and aliens and whatever. Earth has been a proving place for all kinds of creatures, for across the board, for well before any of us were ever born, and so humans are, have this amazing, interesting, wonderful place based on kind of helping the gods along in the winning of the ages, But once one officially starts, then it's like, all right, we're done. Now the show has started. Okay. But the question is always, well, who were you asking? The guard at the gate? I'm just doing my job. I don't know nothing. Don't ask me, right? Who are we asking if it's, if the alignment all across the board on this question? Who are we asking if the alignment is significant, of where it is, of if it means anything? Where is the viewpoint that we're starting at? The amplitude is the mental, straight up, logical, quickly, straightforward reasoning sense that we have. That is amplitude. That is the electric component. And that's one of the things. It's isolated in its own way from the magnetics, which are the quality, the feeling, kind of heartfelt energies that affect you. Those are the Schumann resonances, or the quality band. And the amplitude is the electrics. All right. So, one of the things here that we're learning, we're being woken up before it's the great abyss that's headed. No matter how, it's like a chess game, multi-layer chess game. No matter, the accounts are getting cashed in now, and so if you are not, yeah, it's the there's it's we are here to help kind of clean up when the dust settles and to kind of rebuild. But it is going to be a long haul for a lot of the longtime residents here to heal. Okay? You gotta, people, Darlene, there's 5 on my stream, 5 of you here. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna talk to you, Darlene, about this because I have been operating with my bags packed, as it were, since 2017. I was living in a tent in the woods, by choice, practicing a vow of silence so that I didn't have to talk with anyone. My guides, my spirit guides, approved that. They basically said if you feel that aggrieved over words, it's okay to go. I had done good service by that point. I've done my time. I've had my pain and my loss, and it's like fine. You live in the tent in the woods. Go out there, meditate, pray. It's not if you're in a monastery, you think it's a great life. No, man, you got to pray for everyone. You're not living out there just high in the hog in a monastery. Oh, f no! You are given to a service of soul service to people, the wretches, the monks. They tell you to go down in the valley and help the poor and the destitute. You don't get to hide away here in the monastery. Oh, f no! You volunteer in the soup kitchen, and that's what part of what being in the tent in the woods is that you provide a service to people spiritually, and that's one of my goals, that by doing this, the Schumann resonance thing, that I can be of service. But eventually I lost my train of thought a little bit, but eventually what happens is you get told you have to come back into service for people and find those who are ready. And that's what I'm here doing. That's what I'm helping doing. And I'm going to be doing this until I'm not able to. And hopefully I can find a way to make the stream go better. It's not hopping and skipping like this. I don't know what the problem is. It could be that I have too positive a message for them, and they're these people aren't liking it. Bradley, that micronova is so far away. I mean, it's going to happen, absolutely, but I don't think there's signs of it happening soon. I think we have a lot more, the Buddha would say, you have a lot more things on Earth closer to home to worry about than this ongoing micronova. Chances are it's not going to happen in your lifetime. I'm even going to say this. Alright, I'm replying to the comment here. there, and you have, it's ever a process that's kind of like, you have to remember it's a continuum. It's been the universe and the earth and all of this has been doing its evolution. It's evolution for quite a long time. And it's not, when we talk about elevation and growth and all of this, it is a very oh, excuse me, it's late for me, pardon me. This is all a very long-term process, and you just have to do it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, and live the best you can within each moment. And you can't even worry about, next week. So, it's like, yeah, I suppose we could talk about the sun going, micronova, but it's like, I'm not the guy to talk about with that because, again, you have far too much going on here. Excuse me. It's very late here. So, thank you, Trish. So, uh, so I'm getting whatever quality stream I'm getting. I don't know. I'm doing this because I want to be here doing this. You all need to hear it, and as long as you know, I mean, whatever. I'm here. I'm dedicated. Yeah. So I get an error message that says it's not, getting a good enough stream, and I can see it's buffering. Uh, I know that's annoying. All right, so this was a little bit of a chat. This is kind of more of a test or whatever. I'm gonna kind of end this because it keeps buffering and it's threatening to shut me down. Just like it's I don't know. Is this another way to ban people? Shadow ban. Um, I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe. You know. Um, I'm learning how to work over on dLive. Um, this software is good, but there's another software to use too. So I don't know. Anyway, but I'm going to yeah, it's buffering. It's buffering exactly. So uh, yeah. All right. So oh, I have my high point, 9 people. Yeah, of course. I decide to end it with 9 people. The high point of the night. Yeah. Well, it's a thing. All right. Anyway, so thank you all while I still have some people here. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to make a video. I think what I'm going to do is make a video and premiere it. And then I'm going to kind of do that tomorrow. So in between these skips, yeah, Trish, I'm going to do a premiere tomorrow. I'm going to try around the same thing, like 10 o'clock, 10:30-ish. I made it, it's like 40 minutes, but I think what I might do is do one and then see how that goes. And I'll do another one, and then that way I can be in the chat with you all and do some, kind of interesting things. We'll have to see how that works. Uh, you know, yes. Thank you, JVF Mastering. I appreciate that. And it basically the nuts and bolts of it is what was given to me. I have to give back to others. That's kind of the you know So Schumann high. Wait, answer that a different way. Ask it a different way, Autumn Joy. Yeah, Bradley, the next chapter is quality, but I still have to. I'm still working on Amplitude. You know what I'm saying? There's still questions on that. There's still a big thing with that, So I haven't even started on the quality. Do you know what I mean? I haven't even, it's funny the way things work out sometimes. That it doesn't always work out as planned. But then there is what happens that I like is that as I do, I cover topics, it can wind up expanding based on the comments, and those of you who are here who know me long enough know that I base. Okay, you help direct me with this, and so that's part of what that's part of what my show is about, is that I take questions, I answer, interact with you guys. Why the chat is important, why having a video camera where I can look at you, and I see you guys don't have a video kind of thing on your end, but hey, there's a Zoom. I want to do a Zoom, and so that might be an option for like you see, all right, hey, you got this through YouTube, but I have links there, and I want to, I have kind of a thing on Zoom that I can, a membership over there. So that's something to consider here, that this keeps buffering out, but we can do multiple people on Zoom. That's something to consider. And it's like a group. We're part of the family. We're part of it's a, if you donate to me, it's just going toward this anyway, like just consider that, like, you have the free service that's YouTube and it's buffering, but they also have the paid service that's like Zoom. And that, I'd be happy to have a group of 8 of you or 9 of you in a non, buffering kind of way. It's possible. So it's just something to consider. I also have a dLive channel over there. I'm trying to figure that. I have a Twitch account that I can't figure out how to stream there, but I can, I have a thing over there as well. So as I have, I'm kind of started doing the Schumann. I started dedicating this channel to just the Schumann resonances and nothing else in May. Like it officially by May 30th, the last of May, I had my first video on, and with more of them kind of on the way behind that. So, it's, but as I was rambling through earlier on about my experience doing, AV stuff, like this is within the line of what I've been doing, and I've been working behind the scenes for many years, not wanting to be in public, but now I am. All the performers are going before me. It's time. It's just time. The first mate can't stay, hidden forever. So that's where I am. I'm the technician that gets to, kind of be on the stage and, give you the rundown, the shakedown of what's happening with, the Schumann resonances and all of this crazy stuff going on. I know what's happening. I've been prepared for this for a while, since I was a teenager. Like, yeah. Yeah, and for the rest of you that aren't prepared for this or didn't know you volunteered or any of that, like, oh yeah, you're in for a rather rude awakening. That's kind of what it is. There's ascension, which is the nice kind of awakening, but then there is the rude awakening, and trust me, which one you don't want to have happen. No, you want to wake up willingly. That's what ascension is, waking willingly. The other one is being kind of ripped out of bed. You're not ready to, you don't want to wake up. Oh, all right, whatever. It's going to happen, sooner or later. You're waking up one way or another. You don't want to have the rude awakening. Oh, you do? Okay. All right, no worries. Don't say you weren't warned. Um, anyway. So, for the, oh, there's 9 of you. All right. All right. So, if I wasn't buffering, I would want to do this longer, but, it's, how hurts? Oh, give me a break. You gotta ask me a better question than that. Autumn Joy. If you're asking me a question, I'll keep streaming. Whatever. I don't have to end it right now. Ask that again. Well, it's not the Earth that's vibrating. It kind of is, but it's not. The Schumann resonances aren't picking up the Earth vibrating. Ay caramba. All right. I would prefer to kind of say this all when it's not streaming and buffering, but all right. You have to look at it as the Earth is part of a system. So the Earth itself is vibrating, yes. Earthquake activity. Ring of fire. Volcanoes. Tidal activity, like shifting waters are part of it. The geological, hydrological cycle is part of the Earth's conductive doohickey. It's the Earth's DC circuit. The water helps with the dynamo. It distributes water. Water has a charge. Water carries. Salt water. We're talking about salt water. So there is an inherent charge that creates also temperature, but temperature is not a driver. Cold water, cold is denser. The cold moves the heat. You have to remember that. It's like a hockey player versus a basketball player. The hockey, player is shorter and squatter, heavier, and the basketball player is taller and skinnier. So, and that also as well applies to like an amplitude charge, is higher and taller. So, all right, I'm thinking I might not be answering this question, but yeah, okay. So the frequency of the Earth is kind of changing from that. It's getting kind of bombarded by stuff, and it's an uptake, and that's the Schumann resonances are not the heartbeat, showing the heartbeat of the planet. Don't you dare ever say that around me. Okay. The magma movement inside of the planet is the heartbeat. Okay? Like, you gotta understand that. All right. So I wanted that an important thing to understand. The Schumann resonances are the breath of the planet. Okay. The heartbeat is something that happens inside a mofo. Okay. So it's really, 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 really important. At least in this, with me here, the 9 of you, me with 10. All right, all of us here, that we're, on the same stage here with this performance. That the heartbeat is something that happens internally, and you can see like Kilauea, I think the lava chambers kind of moving up and down. There is a definite at like 10 hertz. That's its. The heartbeat of the planet is 10 to 11 hertz, which you can see. Now, don't confuse the lower DC circuit with the AC circuit of the above ground. Hi, Diane! Yay! Diane's in the house! Oh my god, you made it! You're back from wages. Okay, good. I'm glad to see my marketing advertising worked over there. I'll even give you a... There we go. Bam. In the house. All right, so you gotta understand that, like I've mentioned posts about this before, that there's a connection between the DC and the AC circuit of the planet and the sphere and the Earth itself, the ionosphere that's a waveguide that is under oh yeah, oh thank you, yeah, I am still on, yeah. Buffering is a mofo, mother effer, but I'm still on, yeah. And happily so. Taste. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know, Trish. All right. So, okay. I see what your comment was. So, oh, I got 10 people. Hello. Thank you. How all 10 of you. So, where was I? So, all right. So, don't confuse when you talk about the vibration of the Earth. That's the lower DC circuit. The Schumann resonances are the AC circuit. So you can't confuse the heartbeat with the breath, right? The breathing. The breathing is the it's the you know, with your heart you have a valve that stops the blood from going both ways. I think this is a way to think about it. Your heart is a DC circuit. It's got a valve that prevents the blood going backward. It only ever works one way. Ba-dang, 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 and there's a circuit. Okay? A closed circuit. That's a DC. Okay? Your breathing is a two-way apparatus. These are AC currents, which are the Schumann resonances. Is this making more sense when I put it in this perspective to you? What happens above the ground stays above the ground. That is the AC circuit of the going between the Earth and the ionosphere. That's the waveguide cavity. That's what they call that. You're shopping now. Oh, wow. Okay, Bradley. Hi, Autumn. Yes, Autumn Joy. Just found him tonight. Yes, yeah, watch the old videos. And I try to keep them, less than half an hour. That sort of, but some of them wind up being a little bit longer. And I try not to, I try to keep on topic. And, but there's a lot to them. In 5 minutes of one of my videos, it's very dense, and you're going to learn a lot just from 5 minutes of my videos in a lot of cases. I can guarantee it. But I want to try and break it down. I encourage comments from people, and it's important for you to ask me questions so that I can answer, and I can give you a good answer. Yeah. Oh, Darlene. Yes. A lot of people haven't, and that's why I have continually brought up the difference and why it's an ongoing thing. I have a manuscript where I talk about, the this whole thing, and I want to start doing Zoom meetings with people so that I can kind of start breaking it down to people in a much different way than they used to, kind of wrapping their they're going to start wrap their heads around it in a much different way, because I'm just going to be blunt here in the nicest way. A lot of what you hear coming from this community about what, and I call it ascension seekers. Like you have attention seekers, these are ascension seekers, and they give you all manner of horse hockey that is just, it's not true, especially related to Schumann. I'm not going to say about the Palladian Council or any of the Alliance or any of that. No. Just about the Schumann resonances. I want to give you the absolute best answer and the straight up truth in a way for you to understand it relative to you and the Earth, your connection to the Earth. How you and the Earth have a connection, and how is it shaped together and all of this. That's what's one of the most important messages that I bring here, and it makes me really, 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 really happy to see a message like that. That just made my night. Thank you. I never thought of the heartbeat and the breath like that of the planet And like, yeah, there you go. That is its thing for you to understand for the night, the connection between you and the different processes, and if you view, especially these Schumann resonances where people talk about that, oh, it's the heartbeat. It's like, oh, oh, please no, just no. I don't ever say that around me. I try to be nice. I try to, keep a good attitude, but it's like, oh, I just want to punch someone right in the nose because it's like, no, it's not true. And people hear that and they don't understand what it really truly means and what they're saying or what it is or how it, any of this or how it's put together. And it's like, it's not that bad. They'll find for you of yourself, but just don't tell anyone else, So that's why I'm happy to do this program, because I want people to know about the Schumann resonances, and answer questions like that. That really is a pivotal question for you to um to ask, for me to answer it, just right there. That's, to give you the correct kind of view of how to look at this. It's like, it really is important, you know. Um, and I might even make a video. See, like the comments, like I see that and it's like, oh, like maybe I'll make a comment. Maybe I'll make a video of that. Like that would be a good one to have as a premiere video, is to talk about that, the AC versus the DC versus the AC circuit, and how the DC is like the heartbeat and the breathing is the AC circuit, like, I just thought about that. So anyway, all right, this thing is buffering like crazy. I can see it is just stalling, and I don't like this. I'm not fond of that. But all right, so thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to close for tonight. Wait, where am I? I'm going to close for tonight, and just because it's buffering so much. Oh, hi, Robed. All right. So I don't know. I don't know. Zoom may or may not have better. I don't know. I have used Zoom, and where am I? I've used Zoom for other purposes, and I've had good luck through it. And so I want to find a way where I can talk to people and dedicate time to answering specific questions. And like have a time where I can set up with people, like for an hour, and we can talk about, any number of, whatever is within my field that I can, I've studied about, I'm happy to share. But it's like time is growing short. It's part of one of the reasons why I retired from the, living out in the woods, is because time's short. It's the time short and the workers a few. Yes, I did a video. If you go to my back to my videos, you have to kind of watch a lot of and because they things overlap, and I repeat things in various places, and you get a weft and a weave of stuff. But in one of them, I talk about the rise of mental health cases in Greece during um, seismic events, and there's also studies on how the heavy electric days kind of also pick up in insanity and whatever. Yeah, I have studies on that somewhere in one of my browser things. So there's various studies on that, like in depth. I've gone into a depth, a lot of different stuff that's kind of gone around the general, thing of the Schumann resonances, because it's important for you to get a general overall sense of what they are, what they do, and this kind of, yeah. I'm gonna post I think I'm gonna post a video where we can talk about that and have that as a discussion. If the Premiere thing works, I can, because the Premiere lets me kind of be in the chat with you guys and be part of the discussion. It's like, all right, it's a different thing. So I'm willing to entertain a lot of different, formats that I can have an open one-on-one with people. dLive is one. I can't get Twitch to work. I'm something with the program, like, just technological issues. But yeah. It's because it's one thing. Here's the thing about it. It's technical. It's very technical, and you need a guide to work you through a lot of this stuff. And if there was someone else who was better, like, yeah, I think I would step down. I certainly have been working the shadows long enough, but it's like, well, there really isn't anyone that knows this stuff better than I do. There's not anyone else who worked in radio and broadcast and did AV, all this stuff that knows it better, that's willing to come out for free and talk about it, Yeah, and what I'm doing too is I'm going to comments with people, and I'm actually, sending, this is something I tried today, is that I'm sending notes to people when I'm planning to do a show. And I think that's something that I'm going to do, is start going to more people and notify them one-on-one. And like, I have Facebook, because I like putting out notifications there. I'm just, there's so many different opportunities for people to kind of get their message out. And quite honestly, I'm shy, and I sort of need someone else to kind of market me. I like being in the background more than being the showman. But I'm the guy. I am the guy. There's no one else. And any of the people that work in the industry or that are professionals, they're not on YouTube talking. Good night, Trish. Have a good night. So that's part of what this is that, there's not anyone more qualified to do this. I'm the guy, and I'm happy to do it. This is kind of my, how do I say this? This is my retirement assignment. As we start moving forward, explaining to the family here, you guys, Wages World, Scott from, Planet X there, he's part of this. Mark Pyers, he wants to give me an interview, he's interested in this. And, the real talk, well, part of the real talk of the Schumann is they're not doing what a lot of people say they are, or they believe they are. Oh, wow, yeah, so have I, Diane. I've been here for way over an hour. Notably over 2 hours as well. Yeah, it's a decent enough live stream that it's 2 hours, especially buffering the way it has been. I think you spend 2 hours watching a movie, like I would. So this is kind of like, this is where people get their truth from nowadays. You might have got it from the news back when, but it's like, we don't know and trust that. And here, I'm not going to BS you. I got nothing to sell. well, I do, except for myself, but I don't have any, that just goes right back to what I'm doing here. I would buy a nice microphone, or a mixer, or, like if someone gave me a gift of $100, like, oh, I saw a really nice microphone mixer for 2 mics. I would have Alex in here, and like, oh yeah, if I had, amount of money, like, oh, how I would, doll up the studio. Well, I would pay for better internet for myself. That's one of the things. If you support me through Zoom or through, any one of the ways I have, the platform there, Patreon, I'll put stuff up there. I already have one person gave me $5. One person gave me $5 through Patreon, so it's not much, but it's like, oh well, the account works. Okay, the PayPal, that works. It goes toward internet and the infrastructure to keep this going. And so that's what this is. And I certainly have posted enough videos for free. You got all the basics that you need, really. I've made that fully accessible because it's important. But yet there is so much more that you really should know, that you could know, that's available. There's way, like even the basic stuff, there's more of the basic stuff that can be covered. And how do I say this? Even just giving free information is fine enough. But all right, how the hell do you interpret it? Like, I hate to be snarky about this with people when they're like, oh, they should have more graphs and it should be more freely available. I'm like, you can't even read what is freely available. What do you need more of it freely available if you don't know what you're looking at in the first place? I don't mean to be rude or crass, but that's just me being straight up blunt with you. So it's like truth, part of truth means knowing that the Schumann, what they tell you in the literature is, and again, this is only the Schumann resonances here. We're not talking about any of the other I've given you the sun solar stuff, and that's fine enough. Like, all right, it's part of the thing. It's just an introduction. But the true message here I have is the Schumann resonances and everything that goes to the Schumann resonances. And this is part of what the thing of it is that truth is, a lot of times it's a funny thing because people start with their beliefs. It's you can't get past people's beliefs. So once people are set in a belief, it's really difficult for you to change that, even with facts. Because you can factor out facts because they're outside of your belief system, not because the facts are not correct or true. And it's part of what this is, and with the ascension seekers crowd, is that there is a level of truth of stuff and this and that, but it's like there's certain, at the end of the line, what can you validate? You don't have to validate yourself, but however, if you're talking about what the Schumann resonances do, or on one of these posts, people put things way off topic on my YouTube page, put things way off topic, and I call them on that because it's why I'm the moderator, it's my job, or I'm the administrator, it's my job. Is this related to the Schumann resonances? No. Well, I was hoping you could give me a chance, you could tell me if it did have something to do with it before I have to delete it. And like, okay, if you can't stay on topic of the Schumann resonances, you don't have to be in the group. Like people post all kinds of things that aren't related. And it's like, it's not that I don't want to hear your story. It's just that it doesn't have a direct relation to the Schumann resonances. You're talking about, there's all kinds of stuff that people associate with the Schumann resonances that it ain't. And it's my job to help kind of clear up a lot of misperceptions that people have about what these things are doing and how they actually do affect your ascension. And it's in a way that you probably, a lot of people don't realize, And so that's one of the jobs that I have here, is to, kind of dissuade people in their notion of what the Schumann resonances are and what they're doing and all of that. Stop the brain. I'm reading the comments. All right. Yeah. Do you have PO? Oh, what is PO? I'm not sure if I do. um, I'm not. Probably not. I'm not familiar with PO unless it's an abbreviation. I'm always open to anything new. It's a wonderful digital age we live in, and I am. Oh, hi, Bradley. You're back. Yeah, I am too. I haven't left yet. I'm still here, stuttering and buffering away, but I'm still chugging along. Oh, it says it's an excellent connection now. Oh, that's good. Oh, good. I should say a thing. I should say a bunch of stuff really fast, really quickly, while there is an excellent connection, because it's not buffering now. Oh, good. Now's a good time to have 9 people. All right. So, and you too, Bradley. All right. So, Darlene, I don't know what PO is. I don't think I have it. I have PayPal. It's an option. I don't deal much with it. Same thing with Cash App. I have it. I don't deal much with it. But I have on the card. Whatever. It's like, all right, if you want to put $20 in it, that's fine. I'll see if it works. I'll buy it. I'll go to Amazon and I'll get a new connector for my computer. That's what I do with that. I'm really a geek. I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. That's like fiddling with the my system, the studio here, getting another camera, finding a camera 60% off. Like, this is how my addiction. It's like, this is how I've, like, it's not, but it is. I admit it. Um, and it keeps me sane and sober and happy. And the more I'm happy with this, the more I have the studio always set up here, kind of like, I guess like Mark, like Mark in his basement. It's me. I'm the same thing in my basement. I have the studio all set up. And so that, when I wake up in the morning, even, I can kind of pop out a short 2-hour video, or whatever, 30-minute video. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about. And again, P.O. Box. No, I have a regular mail street address that I could give you. I'm pretty sure that's it. I think I have mail here somewhere. Yes, there we go. The PO comes to us. And the thing is, I want to do some more stuff with now that I have an excellent connection, I'll tell you this. I want to do more stuff with Alex, where he and I are doing, some live stream, because one of the things that I like about Alex is he's able to kind of translate some of the stuff, and I ask him, as my my co-host, does that make sense? And he says, well, yeah. Like, all right, and let me kind of translate this. And so he, in a lot of cases, can turn it into kind of average person speak, and it helps me. And as we discuss on it, Like I like a lot of YouTube shows that have kind of host and co-host. I think that works out a lot. And with Alex, definitely. Uh, no, I do not have a actual PO box. Uh, I have just the. I actually put my street, um, my regular address up there. So I have a regular address. Uh, so one of the things I like about doing with Alex is he and I work well together, but he can help kind of translate it a lot of times so that things make sense to people. And when we work together, we talk on stuff a lot of times. We kind of work through and flesh out the idea, the concept, a little bit better, so that the average person, can understand. And he and I have gotten a lot of feedback about our interaction, how people have gotten stuff from Alex and I, and a lot of times, like, it's just a principle. Two people working together, if they're friends, they talk, together off camera, and they also will talk good together on camera. It's just a natural dialogue he and I have. But these are things where he and I would be talking about this anyway. Um, and so um, so that's why one of the reasons I like having Alex. So we're that's kind of in the future of he and I, what we're trying to work toward, of doing some things together. I'm not really a musician, but I like being surrounded by musicians. I like having people that play music around me, especially people that play an acoustic guitar. It's very kind of relaxing, and like, and Alex is very dedicated to the guitar. He has been practicing it for a long time, for a few years now, and I was there from the beginning. And so I'm always happy to encourage him in playing guitar. And so whenever he says, "Oh, I want to hear a song," I'm like, "Oh, sure, yeah." And I know that a lot of my subs are musicians, and some of them are have made comments on the over either on Wages, over Mark Pyres, or here otherwise. Uh, oh, there we go. Lovely. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. See, the universe has its way of providing and keeping things moving along. That's one of the things I tell people is you have to stay on the course, and sometimes the universe will ask you to do things, be in a certain place at a certain time, and if you say yes and you go with it, you get rewarded by whatever. I don't even, it's the things you can uh, 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 come across when you're doing what the little voice in the back of your head says. Not the crazy voice of stab someone like that. Like, all right, not those kind of voices, but the good voice that it's like an impulse. It's just a thing. Like like, it's hard to say, but it's just, there's a like your conscience. I'll call it your conscience. Talks to you. Be a certain place at a certain time, and you will. You probably have multiple requests out there for things, but what's the most important thing for you right now? Food, clothing, shelter, your car, your insurance, whatever. The immediate things. Heartfelt things. Things that move along with the carrier wave of love, at the frequency of love, like the good intentions that you have. That's what follows through. That's what carries through. These are higher resonance, like floating. You're kind of floating above the resonances, the lower ones. You're operating in a higher, the 33 parallel, if you will. And so, but you have to be in the right place at the right time. You got to listen to the voice. You have to be willing to take a risk. You got to put yourself in a vulnerable place that's difficult for a lot of people to do. You got to ask, sometimes, um, and tell the universe I'm in need. It's just, you have not because you ask not. And, there's, uh, the good message. People will want to support the good message. It's at that time. The a lot of the crappy, we talked about that, the alignment, this alignment coming up between Jupiter and Saturn. I can see in my life things are starting to come into port. The ships are starting to come into port that have been out there a lot. This YouTube channel here, like I have regularly, I have 10 people, at least 10 people through the majority of the stream. It may have go and come back, I don't know, but I watch how many people are here. There's 9 people right now. And there's, may not be 9 people in the chat room, but like, yeah, this is real stuff. And I'm, as long as I have one person here and I'm doing this, like I'll keep doing it. And, like I can't do it every day. I get technical issues, but I want to be here with those of you who are interested, and and I know the core group of you, and a lot of you talk from the other channels. I go over to emergency management there, Ron, I think, doing the the earthquakes out there in the West that no one wants to talk about. He's all about them. You know, um, Polestar. I think I saw some Maverick Star Observatory. We've heard references. People we know who watches those. We know who's in the who over there. Dutch. These are our people. These are our patron saints. And I'm up there in the pantheon too. I haven't been doing it that long, but I'm the resident expert on the Schumann resonances and the electromagnetics and the broadcasting and all of that. And what these things do. I'm the guy. And so I'm happy to be the patron saint of the Schumann resonances and take my place with the light showers. Because it's time, and there is a lot of stuff going on, and it's important that people know the truth. It's like the truth will resonate with you. It'll set you free, yeah, maybe. It's going to set you free more than it's going to hurt you, though. The truth can be painful, but it's painful. It's a good pain in the way that, clearing out a festering wound is good for you. You know, and that's where we're at in society, that there's a lot of pain, but there's a lot of clearing out of stuff that's needed to be cleared out. And that's why, that's, yeah, it's time. It's just time. I mean, I could kind of proselytize a lot more, but, it's just time for things to change. And if you're here, it's because that I am happy to give you the message of the true message of what's really, really, really going on from a much higher perspective, much higher source than any of the humans, and I will tell you what I know. And hopefully there's someone who can translate it for you into a language you can understand, And so that's what Alex is a lot of times, is the transliterator of what I'm saying. And so I'm happy. I'm always happy to give out the truth as I understand it, what I know. What I can prove is, like this here, the ololiths. How do I have this? This gets into proof of my crackpot theory of the ringing in the ears and the ascension symptoms. And by ascension symptoms, what I mean is the phantom symptoms, like phantom leg symptom. You get your leg amputated, you still feel it. Well, phantom leg, phantom limb symptom. So there are these phantom symptoms that people have, so-called, that I am calling ascension symptoms, because it is these crystals that are being activated in your your structure and your DNA, first off, your genetic structure, your DNA, which is based on proteins, amino acids, and polysaccharides, which are sugars, kind of sugar kind of thing. All right, I got to do a little more research on that, but it's basically, and I'll even detract it from saying sugars because it's like there's another form of sugar than you might think of. All right, so put it that way. Proteins and polysaccharides. All right, so these are crystalline kind of structures. Yay, I'm at 11. Yeah, oh, and don't forget to smash the likes button. Please, if you're here, hit it. And share this video in your timeline if you can. And, this is a wonderful thing to be here. I have the 10, you think about it here. All right. It's great to be popular. It's like a thing on Earth. All right, I'm going off topic here. It's great to have friends and people around you, to be popular. Okay, that's great. All right. Here's the thing. If you had 40,000 people in a room, who could you talk to? Okay. If you had 200 people in a room, who could you talk to? If you had 5 hours, you could talk to a good amount of people, but you're only spending, 20 minutes with a person. All right. So I used to work at a nightclub where we had an occupancy of 150. Okay. This was a men's club, and these are all big guys, a lot of them. I'm a big guy myself, but I have ice, so I'm bigger, and 2 buckets sometimes, even bigger with the ice. So I got to get through the dance floor, the pool table part with ice in a reasonable amount of time. Excuse me. Thank you for being here. You're not boring me. I have had a long day shoveling snow and assaulting the pavement. Okay. So the more people you get in there, the longer it takes to get through. Okay. Get through the club. But the more people that are in there, the more people that know me, that like me, that want my time. Okay. And in some cases, half of the club knew me. They liked me. They liked my work. I have a great energy. People want that. They want that positive energy. And I would give people my heart and, and this and that. So that become a thing. Like you talk about, oh yeah, I want to have a lot of people here in my chat room or whatever. But it's like, if you go to some of those chat rooms where there's a lot of people, it's chaos. It's freaking madness. It really is. 200 people in a chat. Oh my God. I can't, you get lost. Really. No, some people like that. Some people love it. Okay. I'm not one of those noisy chat room kind of people. And at 10 people here, 10, 12, 15 people, up to 20 people, you could have a good, decent conversation. It's not getting lost. No one's talking over each other. There's not this flashpoint of people calling each other out, like I'm guilty of that, whatever. Yeah, light workers, it's not just needed, but they need to step up to the plate. Light workers needed to act now. That's kind of the dealio. We need you to act now. So, and that's why I'm out of the shadows. Yeah, that's me. The work of the light, bringer the light. That's why I'm out of the shadows and out of the tent and in a basement. I don't mind a basement. That's fine. With this really great studio equipment that I hobbled together. Sometimes just being in the right place, it just was free, but you got to be there at the right time at the right place. You got to listen to the voice. You got to be crazy. You really do have to be crazy to get, but the universe told me, be where you need to be here, do this, and it'll be provided. And so I just had to haul it home on my bike, and that was it. The receiver, the wonderful $40 receiver. I had $40 in my pocket. I was looking for this right here thing. And I asked the guy, there was no price tag on it. It was under a bunch of stuff. This was at the flea market, under a bunch of other equipment. And I saw it. I recognized it. I'm like, oh, I want that. That's it. So I pulled it out. There's no tag on it. I asked the guy how much you want for it. He says, how about $40? I'm sold right there. I was looking for that with $40 in my pocket. Like, oh yeah, okay, we're done. We're done. That's it. The $40 receiver. Yeah, that's it. It's a nice Sony. Digital. It's got the HDMI, 3 outputs. I'm dialed in. I'm dialed in. These big 1,000-watt jammy speakers behind me from the club. Ridiculous overkill. Well, what? Oh yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I have an amp to push them. So so the universe takes care of you if you're on the right path, and you take a risk. Terence McKenna, if any of you are familiar with him, he talks about a novelty generating engine. The universe is a novelty generating engine. And what he says is very profound. He talks about the universe will put all of the chips on one roll. It craves novelty that much that it puts all of the chips, the evolutionary chips, on the table for that one roll. And I will give it to you in a different perspective. I have a functional perfection rate of 93%. That means the highest that you as a person could achieve would be 90, in real terms, 93% perfection. Now, we have tests of a limit of 10, 20, 30, whatever. The more questions you throw out, or more examples, or whatever, the number of probability that it's absolutely 100% dead on, spot on, every single time, is the more sample that you get, the less likely it is that you're getting 100%. So given enough samples, and 93% of the samples agree, like, all right, that's perfect enough. There's a 7% mutability factor with all of this. It fits together that it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect for it to be acceptable, because there is the 7% mutability factor of human DNA that allows for some fudge factor, slop factor, I call it. May sound a little bit crude, but that's kind of it. All right, so I am reading Quantum Reverse, the somatid and ultra microscopic subcellular living and reproducing entity, which many scientists believe is the precursor of DNA and which may be the building block of terrestrial life. Well, all right, that's interesting. I have no comment on that in any way. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, where was I? So, it's a good stream. I guess I'm not stuttering, so I'll keep going. For those of you who've stuck around long enough, and you like hearing what I'm saying, my ramblings, going on, So, I think I was talking about the studio, in being directed in that, it's the same thing in all things. That if you set your conscious intention and you listen to the universe talking to you, you're willing to take a risk, and you have the means to get it home, okay, that's why I put a rack in the back of my bike so that I'd be ready, and if you're trying to find some new furniture, maybe get a station wagon instead of a sedan, these kind of things, practical things that you can do to facilitate your dream coming true, and it wasn't quite a dream. How do I say this? It wasn't a dream to be doing this. I wasn't in the tent in the woods thinking, oh man, I really want to talk to people in the studio and revive a recording studio to do the Schumann resonances. That wasn't like on my plan. I liked living in the woods with no, being off the grid. And so the wonderful voice in the back of my head said, you got to get back into society and start doing this, and it'll be provided for you. So by listening to what listening to what my guides suggested I do, I was rewarded by having what I have lost, I think. Coming from Connecticut, I had a decent studio. I lost it. This is better than I had, I think. It's a fair way to put it. So that's one of the ways that this works is you have to be ready to do some work. You have to do some clearing. You have to have the room for the thing. Not only your stated conscious clear intention that you want to focus on this project or this dream, you have to believe it, you have to see it. You also have to be willing to work for it, take risks, believe in yourself, don't give up, don't be, discouraged, don't be frustrated. Keep plugging away at it, and talk to people, get it out there, get your message out there. And that's some of the things that that I'm working on now, is getting my message out there. And so thank you, all of you who are here, helping keep me, I do this for the conversation and the interaction with you folks. It's good to have a message that, like the amplitude. I'm supposed to be talking about amplitude, but honest to God, when I start these things, the comments wind up being on all number of things. And so that's one of the reasons why I like doing this, is because the comments are on any number of things, and I wind up getting sidetracked, and I'm okay with that. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that, because I'm here to interpret this stuff for you. And so that's part of one of the things that I'm working with you here, the viewer. Well, thank you, Mugs. Educational ramblings from intelligent people are always welcome. You're appreciated. Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've studied a lot, and one of the principles that's given to me is that, to whom much is given, much is expected. To whom not much is given, well, you're not getting much from that person. But the ones that have the more to offer, the more that they need to give back in some way, it's more incumbent on them. If you're a really, really smart person, you got to, dedicate some of that to, helping your fellow man. It's a gift. Your brilliance is a gift. You can't hide the light, and that's sort of what this is. Why I'm doing this is I have to be good and kind and considerate and thoughtful in doing this, and present it in a good way, but to the best of my ability, to break it down for people that you can really kind of these into bite-sized pieces of some very complicated kind of stuff. Yes, yeah, Diane, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, that's part of one of the things of it. And you're talking with multiple people, and it's all fun. It's got its thing, it's thing. It's a thing. I don't know what a better word for it is than it just, it's a thing. It's an experience. It's a wild ride. When you have all those people and holding on to the, like, all right, is that my conversation or what are we talking about? Like, yeah, it's part of the experience. But for doing this, I couldn't have 200 people. If I had 200 people in a room, I couldn't talk with all of them. And it's like, you see, like with wages, he has 200 people in the room, and people ask him multiple times a question, and he's good about it. He gets back to people, he's good. He's very attentive. But in other chat rooms I've seen, the host isn't really following along with the chat, and it's like, it's kind of a jarring kind of experience, in my humble view. So having 10 people here, you all 10 of you could ask me a question, and I could potentially answer 10 people's questions. I couldn't do that with many more people than that. So and I get to know people by name. and the people that come back, Bradley, I get to know, him, and so it really is a family. And it's a wonderful experience doing this because I do get a lot from the chat and the people that comment. And it was not something that I expected coming out of the woods. I was really reluctant because I said a lot of people are not ready for this, and I'm not ready for the negativity. Like, no, you can't, no, you can't do that to me. They said, no, we can, and you should, and don't worry about it, and we'll help you out. That's kind of how the conversation went. And the first $40 receiver I got, like it's hitting a home run the first time you go out to bat. Yeah, I just remember that. Oh, the free computer here, the HP Compact that I got that I was going to use. I'm going to give that to one of Wage's family, our family here, the Awakened Patriot, who's in Washington. This thing's going to kind of cost an arm and a leg to send it to him, but I'm going to set it up with some baby AV stuff that he can use, and I don't know. I'm trying to fix it, making sure it's all working before I give it to him. And so that's what it's about. And so if you act on, faith is not the opposite of hope. I've seen that comment elsewhere, and I think that's I personally think that's a little insulting, but I don't think it's correct. It doesn't ring true with me. Faith, having fear does not mean that you don't have faith. All right. I think that's important to kind of say. Having faith means you are able to work through the fear, that it will be okay. That's what faith is. Faith means you work through your fear. It will be okay. It'll be okay. You can do it. You can make it to the other side. It's good. It's all good. Believe there will be someone there to meet you when you get to the other side. It's all set up for you. Just act on that. It will be provided for you. Don't doubt. Don't doubt it. Don't give in to wonder or fascination or any of that. Stick the course. Stay with it. Stay with it, and you will be rewarded. It will be, you'll find something. It'll be just go with the clothes on your back, take a quick bag of lunch, what you've got ready to go, the money in your pocket, your car as it is, close up everything, trust that the apartment, the house, it'll be taken care of. If you have a dog, bring it with you. Bring what you need for the trip there, and believe that when you get there, it'll be provided for you. Like, that is faith, that you work through your fear. Fear it's a place in you. It's not a state of mind. It's something you have stepped in and almost died from. The Rhode Island roads, they are to be feared. You will lose your life in one of the potholes here. There's states that are as bad, but they're bigger, and there's more roads than Rhode Island. Rhode Island is the size of a postage stamp, and these roads are 49th out of 50. The 50th of the worst roads is Alaska. The ice roads, the water half the year, man. No, that's the only state with worse roads than this one. The potholes will kill you. The way they lay it out. The pole they put in the middle of the street pole, they put in the middle of the walkway, or just in the holes that open up. They don't tell you, no warning on it. Career-ending potholes, the simple basic one, and then the advanced career that you'll lose your car in. It's transportation hostile. Honest to God. You've not seen... There are states that are worse, that are bigger. Like, yeah, okay, you can, if you had a big state, I can understand how you can fuck it up. California, easy. Look at how big it is. Yeah, easy to fuck it up. It's huge. It's massive. How long does it take you to get from one end of the state to the other? Like, days. You can get lost, honestly. Going from one end of California to the next. You're hijacked, lost, honestly. I visited someone in Sacramento, and then I went up to Yuba City. Oh, whoa, whoa, wow, wow, the levee system. Oh, man. Oh, wow, 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 wow. It's different. It's different. It's different out there. Oh yeah. The big and I also took a trip out to Oregon and saw the old growth forest, and now it's fascinating and amazing and all of that. I've lived a good life. I've had a good life. And so no one is immune from helping to better people's lives, and that's sort of what this is doing here. That if whatever its humble way, if you believe the Schumann resonances are affecting you in some way, that's what I'm here talking about. And not to get into the details of what it is. Oh, Julie, David. Hi, Julie, David. You made it. Oh, good. I'm glad almost 3 hours into this that I didn't close it down. The stream quality is good now, so it's not buffering, so I'm not going to close it down. I guess I'm glad I didn't close it down when it was buffering. It's like a hurricane, you got to have faith. The faith of you all wanting this to be a good quality program helped. May not have, but I'm saying it did. The 10 of you who are here. Yeah, see, all right. So Julie David just came in. There's 10, or no, there's 11. Like, all right. So the numbers show, may not be the same 10 people, but the show is visited by a good number of you. And what I was just saying, for those of you who just got here, is if there was more than, if I had more than 20 people in my chat room, I wouldn't be able to talk with all of them. And I love Mark Pyers, I love other shows, but this is different because I intentionally want to interact with you to answer questions. And I have done a lot of research, and I'm here to work with you to impart you the knowledge. And like in the background here, this one here I've had in the background about the piezoelectric principle of ololiths, and this is at the root of the ringing and the vertigo and the headache and sinus issues. At the very beginning, I had another document about the piezoelectric effect in the human pineal gland, which is the third eye, and so it's one of the crackpot theories I have of how the electromagnetics is affecting people on these various levels. And so as I'm digging through the literature, it's like, whoa, okay, well, here you go. There's another, these are the otoliths, are the little crystals in the ears of the fish. Okay, the same basic thing you have in your head as well. And so as I'm reading through that, I find a really interesting subject where he talks about the piezoelectric effect on bone and why it's, why the piezoelectric effect affects the bone in a certain way. And it was a little different from what I had originally thought. And I said, well, okay, well, I knew it did, but it's okay, there, all right, this is a little different take on it. So my show, like Dutch, he does the earthquakes, and he doesn't really interact with the audience so much. He reads comments, but he gives his thing as he's the expert. Wages does his thing, but he interacts with the audience too when he does his live stream, and that's what I want. That's what I like. But I specifically want to answer whatever questions. He does this as well, but I want to dedicate half my show at least to answering whatever questions that you have and giving you positive, uplifting messages that you can kind of take with you, because I I've shared, some of you know this from the conversations, like over Mark Pyers and, the wages world and whatever, that, I have, I've graduated, I've kind of reached the end of my contract, and I'm advanced along enough that I'm ready to graduate. And so this is not me learning about this as we're going along. This is me having finished a lot of stuff, and it's out there where I've already finished it that gets revealed to me. Bing, comes down to me. So this is a much different process than how other people are doing theirs. Across the board, you talk about them, and there are some people that are sort of doing it how I'm doing it, but they're not talking about the Schumann resonances. They're not talking about this. It's a much different thing. This is very technical kind of stuff. And so this is where I'm at, the very technical stuff of it having been figured out, and there's like a lockbox that I go to get the information. Boom. So as I meditate, like I write comments, I do videos, chats. My thing that I have with my guides is give me the message I need, the people that are going to come across me that they are ready for, and to provide me with the people who are ready for what I have to say. And I prime the pump with that um that I need to be able to interpret this down to your kind of understanding, a common understanding with people. All right. A Caden has a plate. A Kaida has a plate that you can apply. So yeah. What is a Kaida? A Kaida? A Kaida? What is that? Yeah. So Diane. So the ringing in the ears. You have the both the ringing and the vertigo are from the crystals. All right. So those otoliths are they're made of the calcium material, kind of the same as your bone is, generally speaking. So one of the things that you have to do is start grounding yourself. All right. So quantum reverse. What does this have to do with what I'm talking about? Stomatids are all right. So I think I'm gonna put you on pause here. Okay. Thank you, JVF Mastering. I appreciate that. There's a lot to it, Like, I mean, it's my view is I would like this to be able to support me. I don't like asking for money, but like, all right, I mean, it's kind of a half fundraiser. This live stream is half fundraiser. It's kind of been a fundraiser, and I really have to do a legitimate fundraiser and get a wide audience out there. But it's like it's more important that people understand how this is working and how the Schumann is, uh, affects you. And so that's what my guides told me. And people, if you want to know, it's like, all right, the first place I'll tell you, maybe it doesn't affect you so much. Just be a good person. That's no matter what your view of the Schumann is, you still have to be a good person. It's simple to me, like, right? No matter what we're talking about from either way, you still got to be a good person. You still need to be a good person. However, if you think there's something to it and you want to learn what it is, then come and see me and I will talk with you and from a very technical point, and I won't blow smoke up your panties, and tell you it's it's a rosy day. I don't know the analogy. But I'm here to give people good, good, sound, solid technical information on how these things work, because they do have an effect on you, and it's what, you know, and even the fact it does have a technical effect on you, you still got to be a good person. You know, you still got to clear out your resonances. You still have to clear out your densities. So, tomato, tomato. You know, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Like, do you want to just clear out your densities because it's the right thing to do? Do you want to clear out the ballast in your life because it's the right thing to do? You know, like, here's something to think about. Just like summarize it in that way. Like, whether you are the kind of person who thinks that the Schumann resonances don't affect you, you're right. That's fine. I'm fine with it not having any it being anything important to you. That's fine. Okay, if I just I'm stumbling over this, trying to say this. Here is my view, my editorial view on the Schumann resonances in general. The A camp, where it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't matter. You're right. You got to be a good person anyway. You still have to clear out the density in your life that's keeping you down as a negative person. Why would you want to hold on to it? I don't know. I mean, it's why do you want to hold on to the crap and the shit that's holding you down anyway? Don't you want to be successful in life? Aren't you tired of being behind the 8 ball? You are not a victim. You've brought yourself with you everywhere you've gone. You know, if your mom and dad beat you when you were 6 and you're 26 now, who's beating you now? Right? It's time to let go of the bat. You know, drop the rock. Drop the rock. Don't let go of the bat. Stop beating yourself. You know, you could be your own worst enemy. And so now is the time that if you want to make a change and lead a good life, that's fine. Do that for itself. Pardon me, sorry about that. So the Schumann resonances don't affect you. They don't have to affect you in any way. I'm fine with that understanding. I tell people that. You know, if it's all confusing to you, it doesn't matter. It may not affect you. You should lead a good life anyway. Ooh, 13 here. Thank you. Lucky 13. I'm at 306.60. All right, there we go. So the Schumann resonances may not affect you. For those who just got here, the Schumann resonances may not affect you. Lead a good life anyway. Right? That's fine. It's simple. That's the simplest, least, shortest feedback loop right there. If the Schumann resonances don't affect you, it doesn't matter. Lead a good life anyway. Clear out your densities. Get rid of the ballast, the musty, the dusty, the rusty, the broken, the busted. Get rid of it. Right? If it's collecting dust, give it to someone. You know, someone who can use it. Right? Someone probably needs something that you have that's all rusty, or, you know, it's still good, it's broken. Give it to the person that fixes it. Give it as a gift. If you want the new and the good and the beneficial and the wonderful, give up what's not working, what's broken, what's toxic, and especially if it's something that you want to find it a good home. You think you're a good home, but it's getting, kicked around. Find a better home for it. It's that simple. And that's part of what this whole thing about the Schumann resonances is that those lines are, they're taught. They're like, at that frequency, the 7.8 it's a locked in frequency that's holding you in place. And you have to find a way to clear out your density. Hold on. I'm yawning. I gotta go to bed. It's 3 hours into this. Oh, Awakening the Patriot. Hello. I have your computer. I'm working on it. So we are talking about the effects of electromagnetic field on people because it is. It's gravity. I've mentioned this before. It goes to, yes, I can prove it. Now, what I have up here in the background is under reports. This is science, by the way. Okay, for those that are new here, I have in the background this. I got this from the library. This is a wonderful picture. It's a gift that I got from the library. Okay, I asked for an interlibrary loan from the library, and one of these, how do I say it, well-cited articles is from, I forgot the author's name, but I should remember it. If I wasn't so tired, I'd probably remember. But this is a landmark, it's in Science, the 20th of October, 1967, where it's talking about the piezoelectric property on otoliths. On otoliths. So an otolith is it's a little crystal structure in a fish, bony fish, their crystals in their brain, the inner ear, that helps them locate the depth and sounds in the water, and is for the sense of balance. Humans have that. That's what rings in your inner ear when the Schumann resonances, electromagnetics in general, not just the resonances, radio frequencies in general from broadcasting, terrestrial broadcasting can do that, same thing. And it's how you receive fake, false sound in your ear. It's actually a magnetic induction. It's a piezoelectric effect, and it's also a magnetic induction in the coil in your ear. So the Schumann resonances stay fixed at a certain frequency. It goes from the unified theory, all right, goes from oh good God, there's the gravity and X-rays, then electric, the common electromagnetic, and then you start getting into optical light. We're going down the spectrum, gamma, X-ray, optical light, and then you have the radio frequencies. And so the as we get, it starts solidifying into the resonances, and they start compactifying each other. If you take, they're standing waves, and they're bouncing, they're hitting each other like that, or they keep each other intact, locked in place. And so you moved from electricity into magnetism, and then down the far end of gravity. Like, so the Schumann resonances start activating at a gravity point. You feel it. Gravity is where you feel it. You literally feel it. And so as part of one of the effects of the Schumann resonances, electromagnetics, is it's moving from this high pitched piercing sound into something you feel, you viscerally feel it, a nausea, headache. It goes from one end, from the electrode to the magnetics to the gravity. And so when it starts getting into the gravity through the piezoelectric, and there's a lot of this kind of principles that are involved in this, but it's the reacting on your crystals, and your bone is a crystalline, multi-crystalline structure. Your DNA is a crystalline structure, so on and so forth. No matter how healthy you believe your brain is, it's based on the perceptions of the sensory receptors around you. So, if you are experiencing a vision that no one else can see, you can accept it. That's fine. I don't need anyone else to agree with me. Your externally validated reality from other people, like, some of us are fine with absolutely no one validating our reality. That's fine. They're just words coming out of your mouth. Don't care. Whatever. You're fine with your opinion. You can't disprove me. We've debated. You're not disproving me, what I'm saying. You're showing how convoluted your argument is, but you're not disproving what I'm saying. I don't need to be right. I like having my ideas tested. Like, that's a thing. I like having a debate with people. Like, that's, the sales pitch of me needing to prove it to you. Like, don't care. Don't really fucking care. Don't need to care. Don't know why you need to pursue this as a thing. Like, we're done. You know, I've said that to enough people. I'm fine with that. However, if you're interested, that's where I'm talking about. And so the part of our sanity depends on us proving our reality correct. You know, if you realize you had a subjective reality and an objective reality, there's what you know and there's what you can prove, then you're a healthier person, you know? And so some of the most well-adjusted ones are the ones that are getting bombarded by the the incoming high, high intensity energy. You know, they're doing fairly well actually. They're picking it up perk. You know, lately I've had a, kind of upswing in things and I'm doing fairly well, well enough to want to broadcast. All right. So here's the thing about this. When we talk about gravity, all right, this is sort of one of those things that they wanted me to reveal. Who's they? My guides. All right. So they have a centrifuge. Okay, gravity. When we think about gravity, frequently it's like the weight of something is keeping it down. It's the weight, like the mass of it. What makes gravity work is the mass of something. One thing is more massive, more dense, more densely compacted than another. Okay. Yet, with the right dynamics, you can get a heavy weight to fly. You can get a heavy weight to move with the wind, with enough area, surface area, enacted. So there are various principles that are involved that are interesting with this. Okay. I lost my track here. All right. Yeah. So, gravity. Okay. So, the centrifugal force is where you take, like, oh yeah, if the spin of the Earth is what keeps you down, okay. Well, what about centrifugal force? That's the propensity to want to fling things to gravity. That's what gravity also is it wanting to repel. There's a repellent force as well of when you're generating a dynamo. Like it's generating, the Earth is moving around, it's generating a force, but that has the equal propensity to want to fling things out. So there logically isn't a reason why you aren't being flung out into space. Why? How are you? There's matter and antimatter, gravity and anti-gravity. We really don't know how it works. However, as we're really starting to see, it's electromagnetic and gravity. So, like you have static electricity that conducts something, you make a charge and you conduct an electric charge and it sparks, and you're not even like touching the person, but it jumps. Okay. So there is a connection somewhere in there between things being repelled and things being attracted, right? And this is something that's really important to understand, like the masculine and the feminine kind of side of both of any principle. It's not just, that it attracts it, it also can work to repel as well. So what counteracts that is a static gravitational charge. And part of that is the Schumann resonances themselves that have that electric static kind of charge. And it's given enough motivation, you can pick up a car with an electromagnet. Okay. So, like, this is a verifiable, legitimate kind of provable type of thing that you can show that magnets push or repel. The Earth is a magnet, geomagnet. So there is a point of pushing and there's a point of repelling. All right. So that is how much can interact the pineal glandular with the SR. Oh, well, that's interesting. You awaken patriot. Oh, that's fascinating. All right. How much can I'm reading the what this says? How much can interact the pineal gland with the SR? Well, that's a good question. I think that's kind of individual to each person, but the potential, I'm just giving the principle, how it works. I couldn't say to any extent, or any definite number. I don't have a way of measuring it in a person. But the principle is that if you are, if you have your pineal is calcified with the calcium carbonate, as part of what they're saying here, uh, is it's going to affect you. It's going to start ringing your bells. And so relative to hold on. Oh my. Okay. So part of what is happening, monopole I have, but I'm not really sure what I've heard of it. I'm familiar with kind of a dipole. I don't know what a monopole is. Pardon me, sorry about that. So with the crystals and the calcium carbonate, you are being affected. Your bones. You can call it ascension symptoms, like I do, but they're ringing your crystals. Now, to what purpose? I don't know. I'm calling it that, but it's like I'm calling them ascension symptoms because they're phantom. I'm kind of defining it, but it's like I don't know. Just between you and me, I'm not sure what they kind of are really doing in people. I have the party line of kind of what it is. It's the genetics stitching itself back together, and I mean this and that. I mean, I know I can technically kind of ooh, red pills and hood. Hello. Yeah, technically, yes. The way you align the molecules, the ions in the current, that's current, moving north to south or east to west. So that's one of those things. You can potentially propel something a distance through magnetics and, at long distance at a relatively short cost due to magnetics. It's something to consider that when they talk about how could they have moved great stones any distance, well, magnetics, you levitate them. You have an anti-gravity, you just figure out a way, you put a coil. If you wonder how you can get huge stones moved any distance, you put an electric copper coil around it, you charge it up. The stones are, I have articles here on the conductive qualities of stones. Like, let's talk about that. Friedman Freund, he's one of the ones who talks about this. Piezoelectrics. I mean, stones and rocks do a lot more than you believe if you get the right frequency of it. And you can increase the frequency of it through the amplitude of the signal going through it, or the voltage or whatever, like there's a lot more to this than people realize of how you can get large objects to move a great distance. People think you have to haul them. I mean, that's basically what wheeled transportation is. They call it haulage. You're hauling it. You're pulling it. It's that's a one-dimensional kind of way of, I understand that, and yet there are other, electromagnetic forces that when acted upon, they will, change the quality of the material that you're working with an proper electric magnetic force or charge on, like granite. Like around here, there's a certain type of stone, westerly granite, that has pink in it. Well, pink is an indication of iron. Okay, so rose quartz, rose granite, rose anything, red is an iron, ferric content, which is conductive to electricity. So, if you took that in the right conditions, wrapped it up with coils of wire, you would get its, field activated, and you can, you can do something with it. I don't have the wherewithal to put this to the test. I don't want to. I'm already, oh, pardon me. I'm already involved in doing the live stream. With 14 of you here, so I'm not in the business of wanting to put this to the test, but it's, there are a lot of interesting qualities of the stones and the rocks if you start realizing what you're looking at. um, Diamonds, well, you put their piezoelectric, you start put a coil around them, and you can start getting diamonds to vibrate at a certain interesting frequency. So generally speaking, that's how the Schumann resonances, because they're electromagnetic into gravity and they hold you intact, hold you in place. You're getting these a lot of times, maybe not all times, but that's how you'd be getting the headaches and the different, phantom symptoms. Carry magnets with you, create a field that responds with, yeah. That's one of the things that, I'll just say this, it's one of the things that the Oregon accumulators, quartz do, is that they can take that residual electric energy around you and turn it into a vibrating kind of energy. That's what piezoelectrics are. They take those crystals, they take that electric energy and they transduce it into sound. And if you take that's why they suggest wrapping it with copper, is because copper is such a good conductor of electricity. Okay, so the quartz is pulling in that signal from the environment, and it's transducing it into a metal. It's transducing it into a vibration. So what you are doing is taking that by the copper. You wrap the copper on the quartz, you transduce that signal into an electric charge that you can ground it somewhere. Right. So you're taking it from one place, you're transducing it, and you're grounding it in through the copper wrapped around the crystal, and you can ground it. You can capture that energy like a battery, hold it there, and then ground it, where you want to, or whatever. It's a little bit more complicated maybe than the pyramids are made on a nodal point, the nodal grid point, right? It's an anchor. Like, you got to understand the pyramid they're not just 3 pyramids out in the middle of the desert. You got to remember, the pyramids are part of a complex, a very complex structure, the purpose of which is largely gone to history. However, if you understand that it's a sonic generator of, it transduces the energy from the earth into a usable energy, and they're like circuits, like those complexes are circuit boards that are on the earth. And those are nodal points. They're all over the world. When all of this finally hits the fan and the pole finally shifts, those will be activated. Like, it's almost time for the pyramids, and a lot of these megalithic monuments are almost getting ready to be activated. That's why people are getting really funny kind of readings and things from the pyramids and whatever, because they're just starting to get turned on now. Those structures, a lot of which are kind of buried underneath the jungle and under sand or whatever, when it starts vibrating, the signals, well, once the magnetic poles flip, that's one of those things that are holding the grid stuff kind of intact. That if it wasn't for that, the effects of the impending magnetic shift would be much more worse than, things should be much worse than they are. I will just say that. I'm gonna read here this comment. Yeah, yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah. A lot of stuff has been corrupted and surreptitiously, stolen and taken over, and things were manipulated, and the Nazis used a lot of all this stuff. I don't want to get too much into this conversation, but the technology, advanced technology, was sold to the certain cultures that were willing to sacrifice the people. I'm just going to say that. So America, Germany, it's kind of what the war sort of was about. This is the war of the gods. You got to remember. The warring humans is not the humans just themselves. This is the fighting of the gods. Look at the technology that's involved. This is not human technology. I mean, yeah, it is now, whatever, fuck you. But it's not human kind of stuff. It is all this technology used as weapons of war is the gods, from the gods. It's not, they weren't, you call them, I'm not you, but we might call them gods, but they're alien. They're sort of like I don't know how to explain it. Just the word gods is a overall expression, and they're um, ley lines, and that's spelled Ley actually. Ley lines, just for what it's worth. Um, so like the technology is from advanced beings that are trying to keep humans from our birthright of this ascension. What we're looking for here of inactivating and awakening our DNA so we can step into our birthright as advanced beings of ourselves. But hybrids are new. It's new. Humans are a new form. Our Earth humans are a different new form, and there's a wonderful future for us. Copper rings. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's a discussion that people should have. I don't necessarily. I introduced the subject, and I think another video I have like a grounding too. I did a video on grounding. I think I want to do another video on grounding. Um, because grounding is such a big, important topic, and this is part of what we're talking about here. And to me personally, I don't think it's a complete discussion on the amplitude and the Schumann resonances without talking about grounding them in. How are we? Yeah, yeah. Humans were modern humans were had our DNA disconnected, basically unstitched. That's the way I look at it. Kind of broken up. So one of the things that we are looking forward to, we as humanity, is this awakening is having the 12 strands re what do you call it? Restitched together. Yeah, silver has its qualities. There's a lot of practical things that people don't know and have been taken from us. Um, silver also has wonderful antibiotic qualities, and uh, I'm reading what the comments said. The first video I made about the Orion constellation went from 2,300 subscribers to 0. Well, it could have been Facebook doing that to you and not necessarily them. That's the thing. Yeah, that's exactly. That's awakening. Just said that correctly. That may not be you. That may be, well, it went too far to someone. May not have been too far to the subscribers, might have been too far to YouTube. Like, that's an interesting thing to kind of think about. How did, where did it, where does the error lie? And I wonder about that too. I consider that too. That, like, I'm doing this, I have a lot of subs, but the channel is here now, and it may not be here in the future. Um, and I'm on other places. I'm on dLive. I'm on Twitch. I may or may not be able to get them working as well as this. But it's like, I ran my race. I did my time. And I can hold my head up high, knowing I did my part. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of funny business that's going on, and people are being, it's like the quarantine for Earth has been lifted, basically. That's the way to look at it. So one of the things that's happening is people are coming back, being reincarnated, being reborn, knowing what their purpose is, knowing their past life, knowing what their purpose this life is, and at two, like, um, and so there's a lot of stuff that's happening, wakings that are happening, um, because it's just that time, and that is in a wide range of stuff. And so because of that, the time is short. Because of that, because it's the awakening time, a lot of the star nations are being allowed to come and make themselves known in a way they couldn't have before. And that's where a lot of these visitations, the portals, and all the stuff that had to remain closed and hidden and cloaked before, it's being allowed to be revealed. So that's why a lot of stuff, it's not like it's new, it's always been there. You just weren't allowed to see it before. Now that the veil is lifting, people are rising in their frequencies. They themselves are doing for themselves a good job, and they're kind of getting elevation. And so they're seeing stuff, they're seeing through the veil. And it's a wonderful time, theoretically. Well, there's having the ability to sense when something is going to happen. And all right, so I'm reading your comment there, Awakening Patriot. There are things that you can measure on a machine, and the humans like there being a definite knowing, no, I know kind of concept, and that's fine. But some things can't be measured; they can only be approximated. That's fine. Um, Again, I have a functional perfection of 93%. So my perfection rate isn't even 100%. So there's true enough, close enough, I think. There is always a wiggle room. It's a spherical environment that all of this is in. And so there's going to be a part where things don't quite line up spot on, dead on. Mathematics and science may, and engineering may like their precision and its perfection, but a lot of stuff gets factored out and machined out, and there's waste in the system as a result of it. But if you can factor in the waste, it's going to be off a little bit. I don't know if I can explain that better. Um, but the wiggle room. That's a good way to put it. It's just a wiggle room. Genetics, the genes. How do I put it? The DNA, the organic structure, needs wiggle room. Okay. The machines don't allow for any wiggle room. So the organic nature of you know, the organic nature of DNA doesn't have a zero. There's no placeholder. There's no junk. Right? Just simply that. They're finding this out more and more as they do the research. There is no junk DNA. It all does different stuff. It's different frequencies and a different range. So there is no waste in a moving system, in systems of energy. So there is no junk DNA. So there's no zero equivalent, there's no placeholder of the nothing accepted as a value in DNA. It's all, it's all kind of compact. There's no vacuum in there, and it's all useful. It's all does its thing. It's code. So all of code, it's whatever you might think of the human will and the ego and whatever. Humans are fairly perfectified beings. We can go better. We can do better, but there's a certain amount of I don't know, grace in some ways. There's a certain amount of beauty. There's a certain amount of, like the pinnacle that you can reach. There's a potential there. Whoever is judging where the pinnacle is, I don't know, whatever, that's not my point. But, humans have the ability to, to reach up to that point. We're a very unique, wonderful, interesting species, and we should reach our potential. But there is also that kind of element, the machine that can't accept any wiggle room. It's metal, 90, 90, 90. It's a perfect machine. It's spot on always. And that's kind of part of the war, in my view, as well. The war of the gods is this difference between the organic 93% being perfect with a 7% mutability factor, or, like it's 93% perfect, but the universe will risk everything. What do I mean by that? The universe, being a novelty generating machine, it'll risk the 93% just for that 7% of a one roll of the dice. Right? I think that's a better way to put it. Whereas the machines, the metal, the straight, the no deviation from that, the milled edges and all of that, with the big pile of waste behind it of what you milled off it, you can't figure out anything to do with. This is sort of the war as well between the organics and they're looking to integrate the machine into the the genetic code, but the machine doesn't have that acceptance of a tolerance like the the genetic code of the DNA. It's just not able to, kind of process it like that. Even with the fuzzy logic, the either or, neither nor, it has a difficult time processing that kind of little minute bit of difference that the genetics need to kind of mutate and to change with the environment. And that's one of the difference of monoculture and with the natural genetics of changing its ability to adopt with the changing environment and the changing time. The genes are for that. The organic amino acids and polysaccharides, your genetics are made for that, for this planet. But if you're getting integrated in with a machine, the machines can't tolerate that. The machines will try and, not to predict or project, but the machines, it's like, are they able to be, reconditioned and reprogrammed? I don't know, whatever, but are the machines trying to take over the genes or genetics or the DNA because it can't withstand the fuzzy logic? I don't know, but it's just something to consider. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. It's yes, I agree. It's coincidence. It's not it's only coincidence when you don't see enough of the pattern. I think that's a good way to put it. Chaos theory. Uh, Excuse me. Sorry about that. Chaos theory tells us that if you look at something and you call it chaos, it's only because you don't have a big enough sample set. All right, so something is chaotic only because you're not looking at enough of the sample. And so it's the same thing there. It's coincidental. I would maintain that. They're very closely related, that it's only coincidental because you don't have a big enough sample set to draw from yet. So that's my humble view on that. All right. Yeah, your DNA, the chromosomes, stitched together with light, little sparks of light. That's basically God's inhabitation in you. That's how God knows you, is that the light, the sparks of life that allow you to exist. Source, like it's light information. So, you are prone to the quantum principle, that spooky action at a distance, that you can affect people from a distance just by thinking about them. When two people are linked up together simultaneously, you start kind of reading each other's minds. You sync. You go in coherence. Your brain waves go in coherence, and you start thinking about the other person, and they resonate with you. And so that's part of what the human experience is the resonances of resonating with someone and having those heartfelt experiences with the other person based on the resonances. And that's one of the things that I talk about with the Schumann resonances, is of the heartfelt resonance and coherence and grounding, and the other side of the energies of how you yourself can make it through the high electric amplitude days. Right? Those, the spikes, the heavy spikes. It's electricity coming in, but so what? How do you deal with it? Right? That's the question. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's part of the reason, again, I go with this, is because humans have been prisoners of war. We've been entertainment for the gods, advanced beings, you know. Um, and there was both sides of the equation on that. The good guys that wanted humans to, prosper, and then the not so good guys that wanted to, extinguish us. So these wars, and again, what's my proof for alien, gods? There's microwaves, radar, the tomahawk, whatever, the tomac, all of this stuff, the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, that's like well beyond human, engineering. It's like the plans came from well beyond, and a lot of the engineers that work on it don't even really know fully what it is that they're doing. They just know the theory of how it's all put together, but they don't really truly know what they're fucking with. And the stories, you can call them mythological, you can call them conspiracy theories, but there are spooky stories of the halls down there being the AI being haunted down there in CERN, the LHC at CERN. And so, there's a lot of, like I absolutely, well, I don't absolutely, but I believe enough the tales I've heard about, the machines down there coming alive and trying to kill the scientist and this and that, and it's like, okay, so that it doesn't shut off. Like, all right, this is some spooky shit, but this is the world we live in. And so eventually, that's why the poles need to shift, because I can do about CERN. It's at the point, like, that is the singularity. I can't shut it off. You can. I don't know. My guides have said there's nothing that the rest of us can do. They're dead set on their agenda. What you have to do is wait for the reset, to flip the switch. And it's sort of what this is, that when you change the poles, everything, all the electronics that move in one direction, it's like your heart changing the direction of the beat, changing the direction of the blood. It won't do that because there's a valve. The electrics won't work the other way around. When the poles flip, they migrate and they flip. they won't work because there are valves. There are electronic check valves called diodes that work in one way. It's a valve. Like, and it does it intentionally so that it doesn't, blow up the finer electronics. Well, if there's all these check valves, electronic check valves that keep electricity moving in one direction, and that's based on the ground and the current and all of that, and then it flips all of the electronics. I mean, among all of the other stuff you heard, among the other stuff, these like the LHC has its own power generating station. It has to. Um, and so as a result of that, all the electricity, the current is designed to move in one direction. Well, if the direction of the charge on Earth changes, none of those machineries are going to be worth anything or work, So that's one of the reasons why that uh, it becomes necessary for this stuff to happen so that it can, stop what we otherwise couldn't stop. I mean, I don't know. The scientists, the people, those guys in charge, people in charge, are sort of dead set on destroying us. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. You know, you can't look at the technologies and all of this that's happening without it being quite obviously an agenda to keep us, kind of dead. Basically, that's the best way to put it, Yeah. Brett. Hi, Brett. Brett Lewis. This year has been a 56 conspiracy theory for some reason. I've been out for some time. All right. It's almost 4 hours. It's late for me. I'm